friends, I just wanted to go over a couple of reminder problems since it's been a weekend plus some since the last time you took notes on this was Thursday. So in case it's a little rusty, just a quick reminder, okay? So we'll go through a couple of each type of problem. All right, so the first one, this one right here, we can tell there's no distributive property because we don't have any parentheses. And so that means that we're going to be combining like terms. All right, and so we remember that like terms have the same variable and they have the same exponent. All right, so let's start by looking for things that have the same variable and exponent. So if we just start at the very beginning, 3x squared. So we want a variable of x and an exponent of 2. So the other thing that has that is this minus 8x squared. Okay, so let's combine those. 3 minus 8 is negative 5x squared. All right, let's look at our next term. We have a plus or positive 5y, and we see another 7 or another y with no exponent or an exponent of 1 right here. So now we have plus 5 plus 7. That gives us a plus 12 and our variable of y. And then to end, we have our minus 4x. And there's nothing else that's just an x without an x squared. So that one is done. Okay, and let's look at our next problem, number 2. Now we see that we do have distributive property because we have these parentheses. All right, and so we know with distributive property, we're going to take this, negative 8, and multiply it by everything inside. And the other thing we're going to remember is this negative right here switches the sign of everything. So this positive 5 becomes a negative 5. This plus becomes a minus. And this minus becomes a plus. Okay? And so that, there, we just did the negative. So now we just have to deal with the 8. Okay? So 8 times 5 is 40. And we've got our negative that we bring, y squared. Then we've got our minus that we bring down. 8 times 9 is 72y. And then we bring our plus down. And 8 times 2 is 16. And that is as far as we can go. We cannot combine anything else because these terms do not match. So we are done. Okay? So one of the things that I want you really carefully to, or in particular to remember, is that you should have these variables at the end. If you end and all of your variables have disappeared, you've made a mistake. Okay? We need those variables. And we also need our operations. Something else I've seen is I've seen answers like this. Negative 40y squared, and then 72y, and then 16. And it's if you're just listing them. But we're not listing. We're rewriting it as an expression, as all one piece, okay? So you want to make sure that you have those operations. They're really important. So you want to keep your variables, so you want to keep your operations. Okay? All right. Now we'll remind ourselves of a couple of combination problems. So we remember that first, we're going to use the distributive property, and second, we're going to combine like terms because we multiply first with order of operations. So let's take this 3, multiply it here and here. 3 times 6 is 18, and bring the x, and then minus 3 times 7 is 21, And I'm going to bring down the other two pieces. So bring down plus 9x and bring down minus 4. And now I need to combine my like terms. So I've got an 18x here. And my other x is plus 9x. So 18 plus 9 is going to give us 27. And my x, have to remember my variable. And then, let's see, I've got a minus 21 and a minus 4. So negative 21 minus 4 is negative or minus 25. So remember, we can think of these both as negatives and minuses depending on what is most helpful. So with this one, it's most helpful to think of it as a negative, and here it's most helpful to think of it as minus. Okay, let's do our next one. So we'll start with our distributive property. This is a positive 5, which is nice because then we don't have to worry about those pesky negatives. So 5 times 4 is 20x, and 5 times 3 is plus 15. Bring our 6x down, and don't forget the plus. Then bring down our minus 7x and minus 20. Now let's do some combining. We've got a 6x, we've got a plus 20x, and we've got a minus 7. Okay, so 6 plus 20 is 26, and then minus 7x, so 26 minus 7 is going to give us 19x. And then I have plus 15, or positive 15 in this case, since it's the first number, minus 20. So 15 minus 20 is negative 5. So that negative will turn into a minus 5. 19x minus 5. And I am done. Okay, so now you're going to do some problems for practice on your own.